So if you're in the market for your own set of shoulder pads, you've come to the right place. But if not, at least stay here for like a minute so YouTube doesn't like nerf this video. So just hold on for a little bit, learn a little bit before you click off. So shoulder pads has been a really interesting place in the football space, especially in amateur football for the past couple of years. And honestly, a couple of years ago, it looked like Zenith was going to become the top dog of like amateur football. And that went for shoulder pads and helmet, just based on how affordable they were. But then when Zenith fell off, it left a clear gap in the market. And clearly a bunch of companies took notice because there's a ton of new shoulder pads coming out aimed at the youth and amateur levels. And that's why these things now exist. These are the Battle Defender shoulder pads, and they're the first shoulder pads that have come out from Battle Sports. Now, Battle's mostly known as like an accessory company, at least they were in the past, where they mostly made like mouth guards and a whole bunch of other stuff like that, but then they dipped their toes in gloves. The Battle Doom gloves were great. They've now gone into cleats. Their Astro Fly cleats from this year are also great, and now they also have shoulder pads. They're setting themselves up as a contender in every market in the football space. If you do watch this video and you decide you want to pick up these shoulder pads for yourself, please use our YouTube shopping link in the description down below. It doesn't cost you anything. Just using that link gives us a little referral, makes us a little bit of money for making these videos, so I'd highly appreciate that. Having said that, if you don't want to use that link, we have it linked down below. You can pick it up through Amazon, Dick's Sporting Goods, or Battle Sports website. And the youth versions of these pads are $159, but the adult version I have here are $199, still a great deal. And also, if you are going to pick them up at Dick's Sporting Goods, we highly recommend going into the store and trying them on for yourself. Something I wasn't able to do with this video. Go into Dick's Sporting Goods. They sell them there now. You can look at them online, see where they have them in stock, go in, try them on, make sure you get the proper fit for yourself. But again, we'll link Dick's Sporting Goods if you want to pick up online, description down below. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is just look at all the features and take you for a little tour around these pads. So let's start with the shell. Now, the shell is two different pieces of molded plastic that wrap all the way around each half of the chest. It's super smooth and lightweight, and they're calling this their Pro Shield technology. Now, the cool thing about this plastic is, as you can see, it is white, and that's because white is really not common for shoulder pads. Most shoulder pads mostly just come in like black and gray, and that's pretty much it. But I see what Battle's doing here. So because more of these different companies are going into the retail side for youth shoulder pads, it means there's going to be more shoulder pads on the wall that are essentially just black. And if you have a bunch of black pads on the wall and there's one pair of white pads, they're going to stick out like crazy. So Battle is super smart for doing that, not from the online side, although I'm curious to see how they are selling, but definitely for the retail side, I see them sticking out really well. And honestly, even if you have your own pads and everyone else on the team has black pads, again, it's just nice to have something different so you can differentiate whose is whose. Now on the front, they also have this sternum protector, which is removable. I really like this. This idea existed in some of the old Zenith pads. The only issue with the Zenith one is it was basically held in by laces, and those things ripped super fast and there was no way to reattach it, so it was really non-durable. With the Battle one, it has this really high quality Velcro that wraps around here. So if it's gonna break, the Velcro is gonna let go, the sternum pad can pop off, pop back on. Really good idea. It's something you can incorporate, but if you just don't like the sternum protector altogether, again, you can just take it off for yourself super easy. Next, we have the belts on the pads. They're traditional belts and loop style system where you just have the leather belts on the side with the holes. You find your adjustment, you get to know it, you get the perfect level of tightness. Personally, I love these belts over like the elastic ones because you can get a really nice tight fit, and you just find that belt and you just get used to having it in that exact same spot. So there are some new cool tech out there, but the belts are tried and true. I really love them. The other thing is what they also incorporated on the pad and the outer shell is going to be that they actually added a spot where the belt can feed into. So that way on the front of the pads, the belts don't just kind of flap around. The nice thing about the belts too is on the front and back, they're both riveted, and there's a ton of plainness. It's really flexible. You can really get it like the perfect fit where it's going to sit nicely on your body. So I'm a big fan of that. They even have some of these small deals, like putting this really small padding under the belt, just a little bit more protection, gives it a nice little bit so you don't get any of that acne around there. So I like that too. Now on the back, they have where the belts connect, but then underneath that, they have where the back plate can go in. So they have a universal slot where you can pretty much attach any back plate you want with a T-screw, but obviously Battle would prefer you use a Battle back plate, and obviously we have a bunch of those too. Now on the back, something they added here is like a subtle detail is the Battle Labs logo. Now this is something that not a lot of people know about, but something really cool that Battle is doing as a company. So when you're looking at other companies and accessories companies that are popping up, essentially what they do a lot of the times is they frankly get their stuff from China, they slap their logo on it and they call it good. They've done it with traction plates on cleats and just slap their logo on the upper. They've done it with gloves. They've definitely done it with visors. But one thing Battle is actually doing that's different than all those companies is they're doing all their own testing and manufacturing in-house. So Battle Labs is essentially a new division of their company that's handling all the internal testing of their products, where they're basically making all their products from the ground up. That's one reason their Astro Fly cleats are really good this year, and they're even able to make, again, like in-house shoulder pads, something that a lot of companies just can't do. So yeah, the reason I like Battle and Battle Labs is because they're showing they're putting effort towards making good quality accessories that are not just Chinese stuff with their logo on it, and they're putting time into actually making themselves into a competitor in this space that's making high quality products. Everything coming out of Battle Labs, I think I'm super excited for in the future. Anyways, next up, we're going to talk about the Epullets, or the shoulder cups, or Epullet's the technical name, but shoulder cups works. Now on the shoulder cups, there's essentially two on here, and the unique thing that you see off the bat with these things is going to be the Battle logo. So they have Battle on both of them. Again, it's a little detail, not something you can see in our jersey, but it's just a little style thing that's a little different, and it kind of helps that set you apart. So I like it. The other thing that these have is they call their spring leaf technology, where essentially with the pads, they don't kind of flop up and down. They're left in this down position and they have a little bit of spring to it. So when you flip it up, it flips down immediately. The reason I like this is you're not going to have those pads that are clanging and clacking all over the place. So I like that it stays low profile, gives you that really sleek look, and has a really good profile to it overall. All right, last thing with these is going to be the padding. So around here, we have like a 1/2 inch to maybe 3/4 inch of this really high density foam that wraps all the way around. Now you actually have the same foam on your chest and on your back. However, underneath the shoulders, the foam gets a lot thicker. So on the sides of your shoulder, it's super thick, and on the very top of your shoulder, it's a little bit thinner. So it kind of works to the concave of your shoulder. Now this padding is different than basically anything I've seen before on pads, so I can't really speak to how well it's going to work, but from what they're saying about it, it's testing very well as far as a performance level goes and a protection level. I like this high density padding because I've seen this stuff used in other places, and over time it molds to your body really nice. And then they also have the little neck roll that is integrated all into the padding is one system, and then the shell is another system that just Velcro together. I think over time, these shoulder pads are just going to fit better and better around your body. So I'm pretty stoked about that too. All right, so that's all the features, but here's the things you really care about. How light is it? Can you afford it? Is it going to protect you? And can you move in it? That didn't really work. I can't do that finger thing, but that's okay. All right, let's start with, can you afford it? So as an adult shoulder pad, these things are $199, which in the shoulder pad world, if you're looking at the really high-end ones, when you're looking at the Vices Arc, when you're looking at the X-Tech, the Douglas Pros, they go to like $500 to all the way up to $1,000. So you are much below that price point, but you are getting a different pad for that level. Now, what you should be trying to do is try and get this apples to apples. And the example I used in the past is Zenith. Zenith with their shadow pads and some of their other options kind of controlled that youth market. And those are, I think, are between $189 to $200 as well. So they're kind of right in that sweet spot where adult shoulder pads start at. You could go a little more expensive to $289. That's where you have the Vices Arc Varsity version. I don't know a ton about those yet at this point. And then there's a couple options that are a little bit cheaper from, I think, Shutt and a couple other companies, but I haven't really tested those or seen those either. So right in the sweet spot, $200 for a pair of shoulder pads, considering cleats now can be like $230. I think it's a pretty bang on price for you to buy your own pads. All right, let's talk about how light this thing is. These things are the lightest shoulder pads I have ever felt by far. And I'm not even talking about adult pads. Like I literally have some youth pads that I've gotten for some videos before. And these adult shoulder pads are way lighter than those youth pads I did for some other companies in the past. So these things are nuts. Like when you're wearing these, you don't feel like you are wearing anything. And if you combine these with like a light helmet, like your total gear setup is like maybe 8 pounds. It is nuts how light these things are. So their claim for being like the lightest pad on the market, I 100%, I don't have a scale that can weigh these things, but at the same time, I believe them. All right, next one. Can you move in these things? Yes and no. When I test these things, I went outside, I caught some footballs, I did some different movement, and I frankly forgot to film. So here's some shots of me in my office recreating it. Now with it, you can move side to side. So I like the width of the chest panel because if you're a lineman, it gives you tons of movement on the inside to move your hands in and out. You don't feel like if you're doing any punch, you don't feel any restriction in that movement. So that's great. The part where I think they should redesign it slightly is on the inside of the epullet here. So when you are trying to move, they do have this pad right here, this little section right here, which restricts your movement slightly when you are trying to get your arms in the air. Now, a caveat to that is these are a medium pad, and I think actually I should have ordered a large, so that's on me. I got the wrong size, and if I got the right size, I think I would have a little more movement, and this would kind of sit in a different spot. But nevertheless, they do have a decently thick pad that's kind of sitting right here, and I think if you want to increase your range of motion, they should take that pad and kind of slim it more down with the line of the plastic here, and that would give you a little more range of motion. So they are great. There's definitely some better ones on the market that are also a lot more expensive, so you have to take that into account. But overall, I think if I got the right size, I would have had a little better mobility in these. All right, next one is gonna be, will it protect you? And frankly, this is the one that we can't talk great to. It's just like helmets. We don't have time to go out and test every pad. We don't have anyone that our age anymore that wants to go out and just clang against us on the field and see what it's like to wear these pads. So the protection side is something we can't really talk towards as well. We have to take Battle's word that they have done their job. They have tested these things and they are performing well. The high density foam looks great for youth. I think it'll work. The padding on the shoulders also looks really nice and thick. I've compared it to other ones on the market that I have that apparently have performed well. So I think it's gonna be good, but it's not like we can give some stamp of approval that, yeah, I went and I did 1,000 hits in a row and my shoulders still feel great. That one's tough for us, unfortunately. So the verdict, do you buy them? Well, if you're watching this video to this point, you are someone that is clearly looking for your own shoulder pads for yourself. And I think there's a lot of factors with these battle pads that make them extremely attractive to someone trying to get into their own shoulder pads. So number one is gonna be the price. If you're looking for your own pair of shoulder pads, these things are $200. That's the same price as your pair of cleats. So I think that's a great entry-level price. Number two, I actually really like the white colorway because if you have your own pads, you don't want anyone to steal them. You don't want them to kind of get mixed in the bunch of everyone else's stuff in the locker room. So white pads, you're gonna stand out. I like that as a feature. They are lightweight. They're universal pad. They can work for a lot of different positions. I see them working for line if you want them to work there. I see them working for receiver if you want, again, with a little bit of mobility restrictions. So running back, all those positions, I think they'll work well. That price point, you might as well try them out. But yeah, new pads, you're looking for a pair of pads for yourself. These things are absolutely sick. I love them. You might as well give them a try. Go into Dick's Sporting Goods, try them out, see how they feel. Maybe pick up a pair for yourself. And if you like this video, leave us a like. Thanks.